So Mark Zuckerberg went on the Joe Rogan podcast and exposed how the Biden administration pushed to censor the COVID-19 posts specifically. Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Mark Zuckerberg appearing on the Joe Rogan podcast and speaking about a variety of things, including how the Biden administration specifically called them for a long period of time and even took it to investigating and maybe some court action over censorship, specifically about COVID-19 posts. Now, of course, there was the other thing, what was that? November surprise, not even October, November surprise of the Hunter Biden laptop, 10 for the big guy, big rocks, little rocks, big crack rocks to little crack rocks, put them in the pipe, beam in the Scotty. That was happening on the laptop. And what happened? The deep state, those behind the scenes, the incoming administration, hey, yo, go ahead and go ahead and censor that. Go ahead and delete that. And then when Biden gets in office, now the people that were in the government that wanted to protect Biden, now they're going to do the bidding of the Biden administration. Not necessarily Joe Biden himself, because he's 1,000 years old. He don't know what's going on. But the powers that be, those that really run the show, okay, we got to push this vaccination. So if there's memes, if there's anything that gets in the way of that, hey, take that down, Facebook. And that's probably why they want to buy TikTok, so they can try to put that pressure on TikTok if necessary. But before we go down that road and go too far into it, let's get to the actual clip. I will link to this piece in the box. I will also link to the entire podcast with Joe Rogan and Zuckerberg in the description box. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
At the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh, no, you have to wear a mask.
Now, please pardon the pause, and I got to do that because it is Joe Rogan podcast. I don't want to get a copyright on this video. But to speak on what he said so far, he's talking about Anthony Fauci. Because remember, when the virus first hit, what did Fauci say? Oh, there's no need for a mask. It might stop a droplet or two, but it will not give you perfect protection. Remember that? Then he changed, did a whole 180 and said, oh, wear a mask, wear it all the time, wear it when you eat food. You don't want to delete mammal, all this, that, and the third. So basically he's saying, all right, the government, we're going to give them some deference. We're going to follow their lead. But one day they say one thing, the next day they say something else. So it was like, what's going on?
And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And I'm generally pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that one. For this one, at least, I mean, if you have a safe vaccine, I mean, that might be an oxymoron. If you got something that's safe and it works, okay, cool. But this is a brand new thing. We don't know how safe it is. We don't know how well it's going to work. We're going to be the guinea pigs for this. I don't know about y'all, but I don't like the idea of being a guinea pig for anything.
But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were honestly were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that.
Well, shout out to him for sending up to the government, sending up to the Biden administration and refusing to take certain things down. Now, they did take quite a bit down. There were quite a few pages deleted. People got banned and whatnot from Facebook, Meta, Instagram, etc. That did happen. But at a certain point, you got to draw a line in the sand. We're talking about things that are true. When things that work are not being allowed on social media because of what the government says, we're talking about some other kind of thing, and it's not about public safety. You got to ask yourself, what is it about?
like we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
Now, I'm glad he said exactly who's behind it. No ambiguity, no him and hawing, no beating around the bush. It was about an administration. Let's keep on going.
But a lot of this is documented. I mean, because Jim Jordan and the House had this whole investigation and committee into the kind of government censorship around stuff like this. And we produced all these documents, and it's all in the public domain. I mean, basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. And it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Now, is that a legal thing to do? So the Biden team is calling you, cussing at you, unprofessional. That sounds like threatening language, even if it wasn't a direct threat under a definition of it legally. It sounds like threatening kind of expressions in your voice that may intimidate you because they're coming from the government.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we. But I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there.
If I can find those emails, I'll link to them in the box for you guys.
And they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like,
exactly what he's talking about already. Before he even finishes, before he says the whole thing, you know what he means. Call 1-800-you-may-die if you were exposed to mesothelioma, asbestos on the shipyard. You might get a class action payment, all this, that, and the third. We've seen Fin. It's been a pattern of that kind of thing happening. Big Pharma puts a drug out there to the general public. The public gets sick 20 years later, and now, okay, there's a lawsuit. You might be able to get $20.
Class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people.
Now, when you have people that go out there, okay, in the case of Biden, he goes on TV and says, these guys are killing people, speaking about social media when they refuse to take down things that the Biden administration wants them to take down. He says that as a strategic way to make them do it. All right. And then if the general public will support that, then it's not really a big outrage when a Facebook or any other person, company, etc., gets targeted by federales for investigation. See how that works?
And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
That's how they do. That is exactly how they do. So Zuckerberg, I mean, I'm reading some things that he kind of been had a red pill moment, and he's more on our side, more on the right. But as I close, I want to ask this. Do you guys think that Zuckerberg has become red pill? Is he on our side? Because of all of what's happening. The main thing is when you see things like this happen, or when it happens to you, when you have to go through it, when you experience it, then you understand. You may not understand why everybody's conservative in your family. The older people are conservative. You may not understand it, but then once you live life and you go through things, you experience things, you're like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand what's happening. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about what Zuckerberg said here? First of all, do you think he is telling the truth about how the Biden administration were calling them, yelling at them, hey, take that down, take this down when it comes to COVID-19, et cetera, et cetera? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. How about his transformation? Do you believe that? Is he still stone cold stomped down liberal, or is he becoming more conservative with age and wisdom? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I think political opinions and whatnot aside, I think that Zuckerberg is able to understand, okay, at a certain point, there's government overreach. Now, if you're able to have one accord with him on that, then that's fantastic. I think that's a thing that we can all relate to as Americans, regardless of what color you are, how much money you have. Look, you could be just a regular Joe on the street smoking crack on up to Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. You're dealing with government intervention being too much and being harmful to you in all scenarios. Government inaction or too much government action can be a very negative thing. I think the best thing would be to find that happy middle ground, that happy medium, where the government is in the background performing essential services rather than restricting the freedom of people or contributing to the destruction of people. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.